Welcome to JXN Cloud. I'm Jamin.
I'm Casey.
And I'm Olivia.
And today we move into Revelation 1:4.
We just did that one.
But we didn't finish that one, so we returned to that
But you
one.
went to 6, didn't you, at one point?
But he read 5, but then he was like, oh no, that's a different episode.
I don't feel the love right now, I just want to say.
Bug yellow.
There's a crowd outside.
No one has done that to me since I was in middle school, Olivia. You child. Okay, Revelation 1:4. So we talked about the number 7 in our last episode.
Yes.
Now we talk about
Extensively.
now we talk about the 7 spirits. Okay? Yes, the face he's making is the face people often end up making about everything that happens in Revelation.
Pretty much.
Grace to you and peace from him who is and who was and who is to come, and from the 7 spirits who are before his throne. That's what it says right there. In the Message version, I want to check this because when I was in high school, I found reading the Message version at that time helped me as a younger child, unable to keep up with the older feel of language to just read. Even though I don't use the Message much anymore because I now can comprehend the other stuff a bit easier. When I read this in the Message version, the 7 spirits assembled before the throne, like it's capitalized. See that right there? 7 spirits. 7 spirits. That's not Greek, it's just capitalized right there. So Eugene Peterson decided obviously to take that editorial route, which would imply what if you're capitalizing 7 spirits?
That it's a proper noun.
And it's probably specifically
Holy
related to
God.
Yeah. So as a child, when I read this in high school, I'm like, is it like a holy non-nitty? And before the throne, the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and Holy Spirit, and Holy Spirit, and Holy Spirit, and Holy Spirit.
So wait, there's 7 spirits plus 2, so 9?
And Holy Spirit. That's what I was trying to figure out. I'm like, hold up. Why in Revelation are there 7 spirits who are God? Like, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the Trinity. Why do I now have to add in more characters into that? So, have you guys...
Wouldn't that be a septinity?
No, that's 7.
Right, okay.
I was thinking 7 spirits plus Jesus and God.
Right, okay.
So,
Casey's just trying to figure out what the...
With the 9
7
infinity
spirits
word.
plus Jesus and God.
I don't know. I've been trying to figure it out too. I can't.
What?
What?
It's a
So
non-nitty.
octagon.
No, it's not.
It's not
Yes,
non-entity.
I looked up the
There's
word.
no way.
I looked up the word
That sounds so wrong.
non-nitty. I'm probably not pronouncing it right. Hang on.
That's non-unity.
Go home, Olivia. Where is it? 7. There we go. Non-nitty. Not aminidity. Non-nitty. Let's pronounce it. Someone pronounce this for us. Did I just... Okay. We don't have time for this. It's a word
It's
that...
not a real word and you put it in your book.
I'm not done with the book. It still has to be edited. Let's look it up in the dictionary right here. It's got a red line under it. Okay. Either way, I'm like, what is it? Father, Son, and then 7 Holy Spirits. Like, what do I do with that?
Hold on. Comment down below if you know what the word is that we're
seriously,
looking for.
because I cannot think of it.
So as a kid, I couldn't understand what to do with this. But Revelation's confusing. So just first thoughts, where do you go with this? You just read it. 7 spirits before God's throne. Your first initial thought is what?
God's been making clones of the Holy Spirit.
See, I would just think that maybe they're angels or something.
Why?
Because I don't know what else to do with that.
Yeah. Well, when I was reading it with the caps lock, 7 spirits, I was like, what?
Or they're the important spirits from throughout the throughout the Bible.
The bottle spirits.
Because we see that there are
They're
spirits
cuties.
of people who are already kind of in heaven, because when Jesus goes into the Garden of Gethsemane, did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Close enough. Yeah.
And he meets with the spirits of Abraham and
Oh, you mean the Transfiguration?
yeah,
Where he
that.
runs into Elijah and Moses.
Those two.
Yep.
But like we have those spirits of people, so maybe these are Elijah and Moses and a few of the other.
Yeah. So you'd be thinking then maybe they're, and we'll get into this a little bit with the elders before God's throne later, because that's been a question that scholars have often asked. Are these angelic beings, or are they beings of like humans who have now been glorified in a sense in heaven? So you're going kind of that route is where your brain just started twisting towards. Is maybe these are,
Yeah.
it's God, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and then there's also like the elders of humans who have been glorified, or orthodoxy, I think, uses the word deified. I don't know. I don't remember if that's orthodox or not, but something of a human of a resurrected kind of capacity, or like pre-resurrection capacity type thing. So we could go that route too. I think the reason that Peterson probably capitalized it, which obviously meant he was just referencing God, is most commentaries that you come across and most things you'll hear preached in church is that this is a reference back to the sevenfold Spirit of God. Which, let's see, I think that's Isaiah, maybe? Maybe? You guys know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
The
No, when you said sevenfold, I went to a band, and I'm very confused now.
Glad I'm not the only one that only thought that.
Well, now I need to remember sevenfold Spirit of God. So this is remember, it is correct to think that John is always constantly using a bunch of passages from throughout the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Remember our Lego analogy?
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of different sets, and he just takes his favorite pieces, puts them together in one piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
So
Lego movie.
it could be possible that he is just referencing a bunch of passages from throughout the Bible.
Where would the seven spirits come from, though?
Isaiah 11:2. So he references Isaiah quite a bit. And if it was that, then this could be what he's referencing. The life-giving Spirit of God will hover over him, the Spirit that brings wisdom, understanding, Spirit that gives direction and builds strength, Spirit that instills knowledge and fear of God. Oh, I'm reading. Dang it. I'm in the Message. I'm like, why does this feel different to me? It's going to be hard to count on that. Sorry. Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, Spirit of wisdom and understanding, Spirit of counsel and might, Spirit of knowledge and fear of the Lord. And his delight shall be in the fear of the Lord. He shall not judge by what his eyes see, or decide disputes by what his ears hear. Now I'm lost.
This is
Man.
not the verse you're thinking, is it?
No, it is. The Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him. So that's the first one.
Okay.
So, Spirit of the Lord, wisdom, understanding, counsel, might, knowledge, fear of the Lord. That's 7. So,
Okay, I understand.
this is often where people go is that John is referencing the sevenfold Spirit of God.
Really quick,
Right here.
is it weird that I almost thought about a D&D class? Like, all those were the attributes?
Yes.
Okay. Well, because there was might, and there was knowledge, and wisdom, so, like, whenever I hear those, I start to think, okay, intelligence, wisdom, strength. Is dexterity on there?
Not in this case. But this is a passage saying these 7 spirits, if you will, rests on Jesus. Because this is about there shall come forth a shoot from the stump of Jesse, and a branch from his root shall bear fruit. So this is prophesying Jesus. And since we are going to be focusing on Jesus all throughout Revelation, it's possible John is just doing what he always does and blending a bunch of stuff right here together.
So he's master building again.
Yeah. Or as Olivia took another route, could this be like some kind of humans who have been glorified, who have taken up thrones of sorts? Not that they are in God's throne, they're just like, Revelation's gonna also throw that out quite a bit of like establishing thrones and power for Christians to reign over the new creation. So we could try something with that. I'll give you the route that I feel more inclined to go to. You can go so many routes with so many Revelation verses. The one that I felt more drawn to is spirits is a term sometimes used in the Bible just to generally reference anything that exists within the spiritual realm. And in my mind, these could just be angels, more or less, just spirits, you know. It could be angelic spirits. And the reason that I sometimes want to go that route, well, Casey's got another idea.
It's so bad, but I like it.
I'm
Do I
worried.
need to edit something if you say it?
No, I don't think so. So, what if the Holy Spirit is like Captain Planet, and each one of these attributes are a planeteer, or an angel tier in this case?
I don't need to edit it. It's just everyone's laughing at you right now because they don't know what to do with that.
That's fine.
Well,
It just came in my mind when you talking about it,
so one reason I might possibly push back of John saying this is 7 spirits referencing God is because like they're still trying to give good like instruction on the Trinity in the Bible, you know. Do you want to confuse that even more by, especially with an ancient culture that's like, you know, would probably really gravitate to something like that? Oh, the 7 spirits of God, you know, like John might in his head, if he thought we were going that route, be like, oh, that could really confuse people. Maybe. I say that, but John's really confusing a lot, so maybe that just wouldn't even occur to him. But it could make sense to be 7 angels because he's then going to send 7 angels to 7 churches. He's going to be holding 7 stars in his hand, and he says that these stars are angels, which makes sense with ancient culture because they thought that stars were spiritual beings. So, like, we already have the number 7 and angels connected a lot. Or another route we could also go in the angelic realm is, could it be referencing the 7 archangels of Jewish thinking? In Jewish time, they had a bunch of different archangels. Some were in different categories, but I think at least some of the categories that they had was like 7 of them. So it could be that John's riffing off Jewish literature. He at least knows of Michael because he's going to name Michael the archangel in Revelation. So is he thinking in his mind, we're now in like the grand right before God and there's all these like archangels serving him? Could be thinking that. But I guess either way, for me, like, because it says 7 spirits, to me it's not clear that John necessarily is making a reference to Isaiah. Because he could just be referencing the very 7 stars, 7 angels of the churches that are going to be mentioned over the next chapter, 5 chapters or so. So,
See, I feel like it's more like that, but I could be wrong.
no. You got any reason that you lean towards that?
Nope. I mean, just for the fact that, like, it seems like it would make sense in John's writing, and yeah, just for him to be like foreshadowing here kind of makes more sense.
Now, when you say makes sense in John's writing, what you really mean is it doesn't make sense, right?
Well, I mean, it doesn't, yes. But it feels like that could be plausible.
I would say plausible because there's other things that help us go this route. Like Revelation 4:5 says that before the throne were burning 7 torches of fire, which are the 7 spirits of God. And when we read that, like angels and fire, picturing the angels as torches of fire, like that fits in quite well with symbology of angels being stars, being bright. There's going to be an angel later who I think has certain elements of fire on him, if I remember right. Psalm 104:4 says that God's angels, it calls God's angels winds and his ministers a flaming fire. So like again, we have this idea of angels like fire. So needless to say, there's enough references, but it does get confusing sometimes because there are moments where the 7 spirits don't seem to perfectly fit the angels anymore, and then you're like, what what do I do now? You know, it's similar with a lot of things in Revelation. But like there's one other passage in Revelation 5:6. There's the Lamb, that's Jesus. He's standing as though it had been slain, with 7 horns, 7 eyes, and those 7 eyes are called the 7 spirits of God sent out into all the earth. And so when you hear that, now what do you think? Because this is the 7 spirits of God, but now it's Jesus' eyes. Any ideas?
Nope.
Well, okay, so let's think about this really quick because we're still trying to figure this out.
Maybe they're Jesus's eyes because they see and report to Jesus.
Thank you. That's where I was going next. Remember we did a whole episode on police angels, if you will? Remember?
Nope.
What do you mean?
We've done a
no?
lot of episodes.
Remember Sodom and Gomorrah?
Oh, those police
The
angels.
angels are sent out ahead to like
Yeah, now that
scout it out, come back, report.
Yeah, that reminds me, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So if the 7 eyes of Jesus are sent out into all the earth to see all the earth, now again we might be thinking possibly archangels, because archangels are like at the top of the ladder of the like angelic beings, if you will. So it might make sense that you have like 7 superior angels overseeing everything and reporting back.
See, I just think in my mind drones, but like living drones that are like scanning everything a part of the world.
This
like,
is if Ezekiel was written by Casey.
Yes.
And I saw 7 drones, each with mini eye cameras, delivering Amazon packages to my front porch
No. Scanning
reporting
across
back.
the entire
and
world.
reporting back. Delivery was left on roof.
No, they fly down to the porch at least.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Well, there's also going to be like some. There's some. We'll save that for later. We won't get into that one. This I'd have to go too far down a rabbit trail. But we see enough. Like, could the 7 eyes of Jesus? Do we have to say that that's still the Holy Spirit, or could we say like these are the angelic beings? You know, that they go and they report back, or it could be the 7 angels that go to the 7 churches. Except it says they're sent into all the earth, and these are just sent to cities around the island of Patmos. But it's still the same general idea of like they're being commissioned by Jesus to say something and report back type thing. So for me, while it remains confusing, I think it makes most sense to look at the 7 spirits, in my opinion, as angelic beings.
I like it.
Okay.
They don't care. Yeah, whatever. Why are we even talking about this? Because people like me as a kid couldn't figure out why there was a non-nitty. All right? That's why we're
Still
talking
not a
about
thing.
it.
Comment
Still not
below
the word we're
what
That's-
the actual is.
And before we close out, I will prove that I did not just make up this word.
Jamin, you've Googled this word like 3 times, and each time it's tried to give you something
Hey,
different.
look! I show up if you Google this word.
You cannot prove yourself.
Which means I'm a source proof of myself.
No, it doesn't.
No!
Which is
We Googled
bad
and a pastor
sourcing.
showed up.
You can't use your own blog for your own interpretation.
Where did I get this word from?
I
You
don't
made it up.
know. I'm
What
pretty sure
is-
you dreamt it in a fever
No, no, no,
dream
no, no, no,
and just
no,
kept
no. Because I didn't know what the
using
word was and I had to Google for a while to find it. What is the number 9 in idity form? IX. No, not what I was looking for.
That's Roman numeral.
Quick, before we wrap this up, think of another way to phrase this question.
Ask what it is in Latin.
What is 9 in Latin? Novum. That was not helpful.
So it would be a
What-
novinity?
Trinity, quadrinity, 5. If Trinity means 3 in 1, what's the word for 1 in 1? We're on
2
web
in
pages.
4
I
in
don't
1,
even
5
know
in
what they're.
1.
All right, like I said,
Wait. Unity, binity, trinity, and it stops there. Quadrinity, primity. This is pointless. We'll see you all in the Discord where you can tell us if this number even exists.
help us out.
Please tell us.
As a proof to myself that it's not talking about the Holy Spirit in 7 parts, a word does not exist.
Yet. Non-entity.
We'll see you next time. In high school, I wrote a song, and the chorus uses the word amenity. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know how to say the word, so when I would sing it, you had to hold out the word amenity, and I would be like, amenity.